you take your seats? And indeed, a very good evening. My name is Romeo Busiku, and we are coming to you live from Iganga district. Yes, where we are going to be talking about gender-based violence and also sexual violence that is actually causing a lot of distress to the women and girls within this area. Not only able-bodied women and girls, but also women with disabilities in that regard. In 2013, I was looking at the figures in Busoga sub-region. We had sexual and gender-based violence at 60%. Karamoja was second at around 60%. It was 62% for the Busoga sub-region and 60% for the Karamoja sub-region. So that's how bad things were in 2013. 10 years later, fast forward, how are we faring when it comes to gender and sexual-based violence in that regard? 2022, when I was looking at the figures, we did have some 17,600 cases of sexual and gender-based violence being recorded. And the biggest proportion of that were women and girls being affected, and also people with disabilities. Don't get me wrong, even the men are actually affected by gender-based violence. When you look at 2020, we did record 440 deaths owed to domestic violence in 2020. But half of that number, around 177, yes, around 177, those were men. And around 180, those were women. So indeed, even men are actually affected by this issue of gender-based violence. But for Iganga district as it is, what is the situation analysis within this area? So we shall talk about the interlinkages between women's economic empowerment and also abuse that we are seeing meted out on women and girls, especially those with disabilities. Well, of course, I do have so many people within our midst that are going to be sharing some very, very good developments with us right here. So first but foremost, let me sermon Edwina Nasuna, the communications specialist or communications coordinator for BRAC Uganda, to give us a situation analysis of what we are dealing with right here in Iganga. Edwina Nasuna.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Good evening, honorable members. My name is Edwina Nasuna, and I am the coordinator communications at BRAC Uganda. First, as Mr. Speaker mentioned, we are here to talk about gender-based violence. And this is in honor, in commemoration of the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, which I'll continue to abbreviate as GBV. To give a history of what these 16 days of activism has been about. Now, the global 16 days of activism against gender-based violence is a key international movement to call for an end to violence against women and girls. It usually runs from the 25th of November to the 10th of December of every year. Now, this doesn't mean that we do not pay attention to gender-based violence for the rest of the year, but we dedicated time to shine a light on some of the events or some of the happenings in the country around GBV during that period of 16 days. In support of this campaign, the United Nations Secretary General's Unite by 2030 initiative calls for global action to increase awareness, galvanize advocacy efforts, and share knowledge and innovations to help end all types of violence against women and girls. Now, in 2023, the Unite campaign theme is Invest to Prevent Gender-Based Violence. What are we doing? What investments are we doing to prevent and control gender-based violence in our communities? Now, in every country and culture, more action is needed to ensure women, in all their diversity, feel free of violence and coercion. Health impacts of violence can last a lifetime, affecting physical, mental, sexual, and reproductive health. Now, the World Health Organization plays a very key role in bringing attention to and responding to violence against women as a public health, gender equality, and human rights issue. Now, honorable members, I would like to remind you that gender-based violence is actually a priority of this nation. But first, before I go into what is happening within the country, I would like to also mention what BRAC Uganda is doing to support the fight against gender-based violence. BRAC Uganda is an international organization that was established in Uganda in 2006. We recently celebrated 17 years in Uganda and 50 years globally. BRAC Uganda implements programs such as health, emergency response and preparedness. We have youth empowerment, and recently, we have the MasterCard Foundation Accelerating Impact at BRAC in Uganda, which we often abbreviate as our AIM program. The AIM program exists in Iganga, where we stand today, Mr. Speaker. Honorable members, we do a number of interventions in our AIM program. And specifically, I'll tackle about the GBV aspect. We have created safe spaces known as AIM clubs across the country. And in Iganga alone, we have created 112 clubs. They operate as safe spaces for young women and girls.
Amazing.
Yes. And within these clubs, we conduct what we call social empowerment. Among the topics discussed in the social empowerment is GBV. But, Mr. Speaker, in the fight against gender-based violence, we know that we cannot work alone.
Indeed.
To conquer any issue in this country and worldwide, it is a concerted effort. This is why we work with several people. But first, we work with young men between the ages of 15 and 19. And they are part of the clubs, Mr. Speaker. These young men or young boys act as catalysts for change. And often, as we stand in Iganga, I heard that the people with disabilities are often left behind for different reasons. Sometimes they're not able to speak up because we don't understand the language that they speak, the language that they use, or many times we are considered minorities in society.
Yeah.
So BRAC is very intentional about including people with disabilities. Mr. Speaker, you mentioned that previously, over the years, we saw that gender-based violence in Iganga was over 60%. Now, in the 2 years of lockdown, we registered 6,300 cases
Only.
of teenage pregnancies in Iganga, and it was the highest. And today, Iganga is the 5th lowest of 15 regions, according to the Uganda Police Annual Crime Report. But why is that? We wonder, are people not reporting anymore? Or has the gender-based violence actually decreased? Are we going out to the communities to inform them? Do they remember what GBV is? Or are we slacking?
Indeed.
And the question today that we pose to the different partners, our dear partners, is where do we need to invest to prevent GBV?
Indeed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
That is Edwina Nasuna, the communications coordinator for BRAC Uganda, talking about the empowerment programs they do have within the NGO to help women not be economically dependent on their perpetrators, to be independent in one way or the other. And also do not forget, we are losing 223 women every year to gender and sexual related violence. And indeed, she did mention that only 6,000 teenage pregnancies were recorded in the pandemic, meaning it is far from reality. You understand? So let's talk to the probation officer for Iganga, Mr. Mudali Keith, to give us a situation analysis of what we are dealing with in Iganga. What are the numbers?
And the type of cases we have received this year as follows. There is denial of resources. There is physical abuse, which includes battering, beating, and fire bans. Then we also have child labor, child abandonment, teenage pregnancies, economic abuse, and mainly denial of resources. Of these 1,269 cases, 17 cases were taken to court. 11 of the perpetrators were prosecuted and sentenced. And we have also, as the probation office, carried out several interventions to stop gender-based violence in Iganga district, and these are as follows. We started the implementation of the National Child Policy 2020 by creating or forming the Child Wellbeing Committee at district level and at all sub-county levels. We have also strengthened the referral pathway that starts from the family court, that's from the LOC1, parasocial workers, up to court. Then we have also tried to popularize the Sauti toll-free child helpline, that's the 116, where you can call and report any GBV or VAC cases from anywhere in Uganda.
Are your officers in the field finding challenges in getting this data from members of the community, issues to do with funding? What are you grappling with?
Yeah, of course, we have a lot of many challenges in this GBV fight. We have challenges like there is compromise of cases. For example, we are the perpetrators of GBV. GBV starts at home. So in case a GBV victim or survivor wants to report a case, he or she might be reporting that case to the father of the perpetrator. The father of the perpetrator might be the LOC1, might be the parasocial worker. So at times we end up losing cases from down the villages.
All right, thank you so much, Mudali Keith, for that submission. Indeed. He paints a stark picture, but indeed he says fewer people are reporting these cases, so that figure could be more than 1,200. But let's talk to a gender officer, Mr. Bisky Poole, to actually draw for us the interlinkages between economic empowerment for the women and the problem we are talking about right now, which is gender and sexual-based violence. The interlinkages between economic empowerment and violence against women.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm Honorable Bisky Poole, the Gender Officer. GBV is attributed to poverty mostly. We assume, or it is confirmed that it is poverty that is bringing GBV at households. Because when a man is poor, he becomes rude. Even if a wife asks for salt, the man will just turn against the woman. Studies. It is also poverty that is forcing our community to do forced marriage. A young kid of around 16, a young girl, will be forced to go and marry because the family wants survival. They want something from the person taking the girl so that they can also survive. So because of poverty, as a district, we have tried to empower the women through different projects. And most of them are government projects. One, we have UWEP, where women of 18 years and above can organize themselves into groups and access this fund.
That is the Uganda Women Entrepreneurship
Exactly.
program.
What I should do, also tell the honorable members that as the committee department, we also do bring, we put an enabling environment for the donors, for the CSOs to come and work with us. That's why Buraka is here. They are supporting our communities, but we're also supporting them so that they can reach.
Does the central government have a shelter within Iganga or Busoga sub-region?
In Iganga, we don't have a shelter. So we suffer a lot. We don't have where to keep the survivors.
Thank you so much, Paul Bisky. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Paul Bisky. You're still watching the People's Parliament. We are in Iganga talking about gender and sexual-based violence. Let's take a very short break, but we return shortly. Don't go too far. Welcome back to the People's Parliament. We are still here in Iganga talking about how best we can invest in the prevention of gender-based violence before 2030. As of course, this November and December, we talk about the 16 days of activism that start from the November 25th, that is the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women, all the way to the 10th of December, which happens to be Human Rights Day. But guess what? Advocacy never stops. And that's why we are here, to continue pushing for legal reforms, you understand, policy reforms that will ensure that the victims and the perpetrators are, get their justice and the perpetrators are arrested in that regard. I do have another speaker here coming in from the police force, ASP Tajuba Chimera from the Child and Family Protection Unit. We want to find out what has been done to protect the survivors, the children, who bear the brunt of the squabbling within the family setting in that regard.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. First of all, I will thank the Black that has brought this chance such that we can share some issues.
How does the Child and Protection Unit operate?
Child and Family Protection Unit, it is one of the units or the department that we have in police that is considering about children's rights, men, women, issues related with families. It is all about concerning domestic violences that we really see in Iganga. It is a bit high, resulting to different issues. Whereby in Iganga, when you look around, in Iganga, men prefer marrying very many women. So we end up getting such cases like neglecting to provide, whereby most of the children, when you look around Iganga, we are having very many street children because of the domestic violence in the families. Another issue, where we also have challenges like women, we are failing to know that we are also part of the team, or we are part of the family whereby everyone is supposed to contribute. You find a challenge that when you're in the office, you try to inform a lady that is also supposed to participate, she cannot understand you. So women, we are also supposed to contribute, or the responsibility, it is both for the parents, such that we cannot make these innocent children to suffer and they can get their rights.
So indeed, we really want to know what happens within the Child and Protection Unit when someone reports. You take in the victim, the child, you rehabilitate them. What happens next?
Some people report in our offices, but I don't know why family issues, when someone reports a case, when you give that person a summon, coming back at the second day, he may disappear or she may disappear. They don't always come back, especially the men. Men don't prefer reporting. And even when he reports, he keeps on saying, Madam, I've forgiven my wife. So men, they should also come on board. They should not say that our officers, they don't consider them. The way women have our rights,
that is how also men have their rights. So we need also to put in much effort in sensitizing them.
So for how long do you keep these victims or survivors?
It is very rare even to keep those victims, because unless when it is called for, we can keep him or her for one day as we look for the parents, because we always get these missing children that are coming from the border, Busia. So you find that it is quite challenging even transporting that child back. You know, some of them, they deceive and say, my parents died, so I don't know them. So you may find it challenging where you will keep that child and how you will transport the child back.
That is ASP Tajuba Chimera. Thank you very much for coming through and sharing these details for the people within this beautiful People's Parliament. All right then, we also do have Detective Inspector of Police, OCCID, Okello Moses, kindly take over the podium.
Basically, we're here on SDPV matters. However, as far as we are concerned, we are basically on enforcement. Alongside enforcement, we have a department called CFPU. She has just given her submission. Most of these cases are being handled by her office. Specifically, CID's ours is to enforce the law. Those who break the law, we make sure we arraign them in court. We arrest the perpetrators, counsel the victims, and they face the law.
We've heard that some police officers laugh at the victims or survivors and they tell them to go back to their family members and resort whatever issue they have as a family. Is it happening from your own, perspective?
Probably some other areas it happens. Those are people who are not professionals.
Indeed.
Because much as we are all trained, but the way we perceive the information differs.
Indeed. And also CID came out in October this very year and they released a report indicating that spouses were killing each other. Married people were killing each other. Even the children were killing their parents in that regard. What is the situation within Iganga here? Is it happening, and what kind of form of violence is happening within this area as far as women and girls are concerned?
Yes, Honorable Speaker, those instances happen all over the country. However, I will report that in Iganga, they are very rare. They are very rare.
What is common?
What is common here is majorly defilements, rapes, and spouses battering themselves.
What are the causes of that? Alcohol, drug abuse? What exactly is fueling that?
The causes, majorly poverty, over drinking, some spouses, because once somebody gets drunk, gets irritated, even the minor issues in the house gets irritated. Poverty, as we know, countrywide, causes such incidences.
And you were telling me about the promiscuous lifestyle of the young men within the area. They love music. When they are merrymaking, there's alcohol involved. They see a young girl passing by. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, that was very true. Nowadays, you'll hear that there's a musician so-and-so coming to Iganga. You'll find that most of our youth tend to attend such occasions. So when they mix down there, you'll find that tomorrow, there are very many cases reported at the police. Defilements, rapes, because they are the majority who normally attend such occasions. They're the majority of the youth. So the end result is majorly rape and defilements.
So what challenges have you encountered while doing your police work as the OCCID? Talk to us about that. What is stopping you from fully arresting perpetrators?
Generally, there are quite a number of challenges. Say, for example, a girl is defiled, but she comes from a poor family. Parents are very poor. So you'll find that they'll corner the police. They'll go and negotiate probably with the parents of the boy. Down there, they can settle their matter.
Indeed.
So for you, the police, to penetrate, have the perpetrator arrested becomes a challenge. And also sometimes ignorance, people are not informed of the law fully. A girl is defiled or she's raped. She decides to keep quiet. Probably she may not know where to report. Or shame. Someone can be ashamed to report. There are quite very many people, women who are raped in town here, but they just tend to keep quiet. Or someone can report to the immediate neighbor who is a fellow woman and should be advised that that's normal, just keep quiet. Go for treatment.
Don't ashame the family. I see. OCCAD Okello Moses, a thunderous applause for him. Thank you for being truly honest when it comes to the details you've divulged here on the People's Parliament. It's really, really important. All right, we also do have, there he is, the LC5 chairperson, that is Mr. Gavula Ezra.
I'm one of the panelists on radios. We have all laws that are necessary to provoke this gender violence, and we propagate them on radios towards the Wanawinchi. And we talk about the danger, the consequences, like school dropouts. Now, when we talk about black, for example, you've heard about economic separation. So we promote economic empowerment, and we do give them environment which is really warranting. And I also want to say that we have integration. We are integrating GBV into our daily, be it budgeting, be it our being on radios, because heads of departments, whenever they are, whenever councillors are, chairperson in LC3 are, we talk about this. What is the cause and how is it related to underdevelopment?
We have the legal policy frameworks,
Yes.
Domestic Violence Act, Female Genital Mutilation Act. We have everything. You've had these sessions on radio, you've done all this sensitization. Why does the problem persist?
The problem is that still escalate. One, there is culture belief. Other people believe in culture, like if you don't beat a woman, you don't love her. Even sometimes women say, if the man doesn't beat me, I will not feel that I'm his wife. And yeah, they are there. They are there, those beliefs. Then there is also religion. There are some sects that maybe don't want to empower women to work. They don't want to follow government programs. Then attitude. Attitude, for example, I'm a PWD, but I've seen one of the ladies who has produced a PWD. Then the man ran out of that home. So such beliefs, that attitude, seeing us as a social misfit in society. Yeah, that is also there. But what I want to say is that, you see, government has done a lot. For example, it has empowered districts. We also are passing over like a price development model, the other one. But why am I zeroing on black? It is a lending institution. They give out money, and out of that money, there is development that women have done, and many are involved in one way or another, because a woman cannot access that grant, money, that facility, without me appending a signature as a husband. Therefore, we are involved, but we still have challenges. For example, when I talk about the other laws that I've told you, are they translated into the local languages? How effective are they? How people are aware of them? So we need some funding that can, enable duty office bearers to translate and also to propagate information which is within. Under IDIWA, even under platform for labor action. But there are related actions that we can do in order to discard this. So I want to appreciate organizations, and I want to urge Black also to come up with such ordinances to be developed by us. They will act as sustainability after these programs have closed. I beg you to move.
For that humble submission, indeed. All right, this opportune moment, we'd like to hear from Mr. Wandera Sadala, that is the RDC for this beautiful district, Iganga.
By name, I'm Wandera Sadala. I'm the resident district commissioner of Iganga district. GBV in Iganga district. On the good note is that we've gone around in the entire district sensitizing the communities about GBV. And I want to assure you and the honorable members that currently the cases are going down. They are not as before.
Are the cases going down, or are the victims not reporting?
Probably, yes, that is also there. But the number of cases reported are going down as effect of that sensitization within the entire district. We've been on radio, we've gone physically at the sub-counties to ensure that we sensitize the communities about GBV. But we've also brought in programs that helps to reduce GBV, like those economic programs.
But my interest largely is on what your office is doing to implement the existing legal and policy frameworks, Domestic Violence Act of 2010, and all these laws on gender-based violence. What are you doing as your office to coordinate activities to enforce and implement? Because we've learned that we do have so many good laws on paper. The problem is implementation.
Yeah, of course, those cases that are reported, we follow up with the police to ensure that the culprits, the law takes its course. But again...
but do you acknowledge it's a problem?
Yeah, it is. It's a very big problem. And of course, some of the cases are not reported. The biggest cases are not reported. Because literacy levels also brings in GBV. They escalate. So we've intervened in areas of education. We've intervened in areas of economic, but also the social settings. We've seen where they divide this subdivision of land also causes a lot of GBV. And we are discouraging members of the community not to over-subdivide land, as they even fail to get areas where they can carry out their production.
Should we just set the record straight and we say we have failed because of A, B, C, D, A being funding, Mr. Wandera?
Thank you very much. Honorable members, you will agree with me that government does not have money to do everything at the same time. So they are doing it in phases. Yes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Wandera Sagala. He is the RDC for Iganga district, and of course we are here in the beautiful district. The situation is really debilitating, and we need to do what we must do to ensure that we stop this problem from manifesting within our society. You're still watching the People's Parliament with me, Romeo Busiku, as your speaker. Let's take a very short break. We'll be right back with more deliberations. Don't go too far. Welcome back to the People's Parliament Iganga edition, where we are to actually break down some of the factors that are causing gender and sexual-based violence right here in this beautiful district of Iganga. Well, Mr. President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, I know you love this program, but get this. If we do not actually handle all the issues related to gender and sexual-based violence, we shall not achieve Sustainable Development Goal 3, which is largely focusing on health and well-being. We shall not achieve Sustainable Development Goal 4, which is on quality education. We shall not achieve Sustainable Development Goal 5, which is on gender equality. Neither shall we achieve SDG 10, which is actually focused on reducing income inequalities. And as it is, Uganda will not develop if we do not do away with sexual and gender-based violence. Let's call in Mr. Wambi Moses, a social probation officer right here, to talk to us about how serious this situation is rearing its ugly head on the ground for the people within Iganga district. Go ahead, sir.
I'm Wambi Moses Stephen, social welfare officer. As you may realize, as probation, we do prevention and response. We respond to these cases. And as you may all know, GBV in Usoga sub-region is very worrying.
But what is GBV? Break it down for us.
Yeah. GBV, we take all the inhuman acts that is perpetrated to someone because of their gender, being a man, being a female, being a person with with disability. Yeah. So,
what are the forms of gender-based violence? How do I know I'm dealing with gender-based violence?
Yeah. We have physical abuse, where a person is perpetrated on physically, beating, kicking. We have emotional, where there are abuses. You abuse your wife as, like, we have some abuses here in Chisoga. This is your wife, but you're abusing your mother-in-law.
So we may not have statistics for verbal violence.
Yes.
Meaning cases might be up. Yeah, go ahead.
It comes back to your mind. You would not have the courage to prepare food for the husband when he has actually abused your mother-in-law. So we have the economic bit of it, where something that is typical here, a woman, when that woman is not empowered, they go together in the garden. Or, for example, rice growing. They are there, they spend like 4 months there, but when it comes to harvests, the man takes it all. Because naturally, or by culture, women are empowered. Women are groomed to be superiors over our women, subordinates. So you may even ask the wife, if the wife is asking you for the proceeds, for the money, you went to town to sell the products. You may even ask the question, do you come here with land? So that is economic.
Wow.
Then we have the sexual. Sexual is so much here. The cases of defilement, the rape. We also have marital rape. Where
Mental rape.
marital
rape. Yes.
Marital rape. These people are married. But when it comes to that time, maybe the woman or the wife has been exhausted with a lot of chores during the day. And when this time comes, the man asks, because the man is superior. And if the man is demanding, then automatically the wife will have to submit.
So indeed, Wambi, we would like to hear from you. The prevalence of husband-inflicted violence is at 59%. Why are people condoning this violence? Why do women accept it? The people you've talked to, why do they accept this? Like it is justified to be beaten?
Yeah. For example, in Usoga sub-region here, once a child, for example, gets pregnant at 16 or 15, the families or the mother would just tell the child to go to whoever is responsible for the pregnancy. Remember, this is a younger child at 16 getting married. So she's so much vulnerable to GBV. She has no say, she can't decide anything. That's why they eventually die. they are perpetrated on left and right, and they eventually die. So they're entirely dependent on the man financially. That's why even if they come and report a case at probation, or they go to police, if the matter is maybe going for prosecution, they will be the one who's first to cry, release my man. Because at the end of the day, this woman is thinking that there will be no food, there will be no survival if the man is arrested, if the man is put in prison.
Indeed.
Yeah. So most of them will just opt to remain in such abusive relationships because they are not empowered. They cannot support themselves, they cannot feed themselves, they cannot feed their children. So they remain there, hoping that maybe because they are like three things, they will stay there, like maybe they hope. You know, women with their love, they will hope that maybe this person would change because of the love. Then in terror attacks, I will kill you. And they are eventually killed. If you report to me, I will do what? I will kill you.
That is Wambi Moses, a social probation officer. Thank you so much, sir. Now, let me talk to, that is Mamir Ibrahim, Youth Development Committee member.
I want to appreciate the black organization, as an organization, ekoze kinene ino okutuyamba obutabanguko. Why? Yasooka yasomesa abaana baife ebatere walala mu bantu tesosere mulema muto mukulu mukazi musaza kyo tulina okukisiima.
Mamir Ibrahim is a member of the Youth Development Committee. Thank you so much, sir. But in our midst, we also do have a cultural leader.
Honorable Princess Ruth Naka Nachidodo Chivainuma, the Chief Princess of Chigulu Chiefdom, Busoga Kingdom, and the Deputy Speaker, Iganga District. We have a number of cultural norms that perpetuate gender-based violence. Among them include issues related to decision-making. Society believes in Busoga that as far as decision-making is concerned, it is done by the men. And women have been trained to be submissive. For us, we receive, we don't participate, and in the long run, you end up, the man decides what he or she thinks is right, and then the violence takes place. There is also another cultural norm.
So you're telling us that women cannot decide to use condoms in their relationship. It's the man to decide whether or not to use.
Yes. It is very hard for a woman to decide. For example, like to use a condom, the number of children you want to produce. If you say, I'm producing this number of children, the man will say, I'm bringing another woman. So for fear of bringing another woman, you persevere and produce as many as you can. You can't decide for yourself as far as family planning is concerned. And this has escalated the number of population as far as Busoga is concerned, as well as affecting education in the society. When it also comes to the area of education, the priority is first given to the boy child, and the girl child is a second citizen in our community. There is also another issue, which is related to the traditional healers, because this falls under the cultural perspective. When women go to seek maybe for health services, the men either rape them or defile them. If they don't rape them or defile them, the younger girls who are taken there are turned into wives. So there are so many cultural norms that perpetuate gender-based violence, not forgetting in access to resources.
Well, thank you so much, Princess, Honorable Princess Ruth Naka. All right, we do have a religious leader within our midst. That is Mr. Mamir Target.
Thank you, Speaker. Good evening, Honorables.
Good evening.
Going to the issue of today, no man can deliver something worse in society without a woman. But the greed of us men have made us abuse, not knowing that we are incomplete without a woman. And the society has benefited negative products like they are calling street children, but I'm a rural man, we don't have streets, but we also have children who have run out of home because of the misbehavior of either the mother or the father. We have idleness. We are inactive because we have failed to realize that God created a woman out of love. And it is out of love that we can fully use woman. Right from creating the relationship, like we have had here, that once a girl is impregnated, they force her to marry. She's not marrying out of love, but she's being what? Forced to something she doesn't love. And her behavior, her contribution, her conduct would not be friendly. You cannot accept something enforced on you. So we end up having a woman being hostile, and if she's lucky enough, she may force the man out of the home. And having a home without a man, the product is violence. We also end up having parentless children. The girl may misbehave or the woman, and the man may decide of killing the woman and also killing himself. Then we shall have a home without parents, simply because we have not properly understood the creation, the origin, where the woman came from. A woman was created out of love, to complete love, but we end up abusing, so that we have a community that is continuously abusing, and the end result would be anarchy. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Was very, very spot on in his submission. You're going to put up your hands. I'll get at least 2 ladies. Put up your hand. I'm going to choose randomly. Participants within the BRAC program of empowerment. I see one there, and there's another one there. How have you benefited from BRAC's empowerment programs? Do you feel safer now?
Thank you, Honorables. Good evening. I'm Namaganda Monica from Naka Sub-County. I'm working as a CRP in Nakalama, in my community. Yeah, I'm a community livestock promoter. We're given 72 goats in my community as black members. So my work is to supervise them how to cater for those goats. So I thank Black for the good work they did for us, because as ladies, we were left behind. But now we are able to express ourselves in everything. Then, the problem which I get in my village, men are real harassing ladies.
How?
As they got goats, they're telling them, you didn't come here to get riches from our homes.
There we go. There we go.
So that's a terrible the problem which I'm getting in my community. Men are real harassing ladies because of those goats. They want to sell them.
Wow. Wow. They want to sell them and go buy alcohol and drink and do merrymaking. Wow. Let me also talk to her.
Mananga ba black abatukozeemu omulimu gw'amaanyi nga ife abakyala.
Joy and BRAC okukolera to do for you. What do you want BRAC to do for you moving forward?
Black anenda enongere mu kairi, enongere mu skills edindi. Enongere mu skills edisinga ku de yandigeresa.
Nakasente. Oh, okay. Thank you so much. Skills and money. Please, spot on. I'm learning Lusoga very quickly. Go ahead. What do you want BRAC to do for you moving forward?
Black, okay, in our village.
On top of the goats.
Yeah, in our village, I'm in Bukoboli village, but as Nakalama sub-county, it's only Bukoboli village. which was trained by black. But Nakalama is so wide.
Yes.
So what I'm requesting black to come and continue with, because some people, they really like this. Because as we got goats,
yes,
people were also, they were admiring us.
Yeah, because you're now empowered.
Yeah. So I'm requesting them to come and continue.
So more women want to be economically empowered, just like yourself. That is good news. All right, we have a representative of Youth Affairs. The gentleman in the corner there, you come and talk to us.
We men will also face the violence. Those ladies you are seeing, they torture us, but we keep quiet. Reason being,
and finally,
we fear.
We are running out of time.
So it is at times the youth, the girls and the women who speak out. My humble request is about the referral pathways. We have the LOCs, we have the police, we have the community officers, we have the probation. But you will find there, from the village level, you will find obstacles there, the corruption is there. When a youth is taking the LOC one, is not given the time to explain about himself or herself. They just judge because the representative is not called during those sittings. So we call upon the referral pathways, more also Mama Police, to intervene when the issues concern the youth come to your office. Call us, the leaders, we shall intervene and solve the matters.
And indeed, he's talking about recommendations that should have come last, but thank you so much. And finally, we are going to shut this plenary session down, but with the representative of PWDs. There she is in our midst, Team Joy Mary. So indeed, Team Joy, talk to us about the gravity of the situation for the persons with disabilities, my dear.
Lack of information among persons living with disabilities. Someone is having an hearing impairment, but there is no sign language interpreter at the police station. For example, our central police station. I've visited this station for many occasions, but we don't have any sign language interpreter. So we find that we are really left out, and this has led to gender-based violence. Then also illiteracy and ignorance. Many of our girls and young women living with disabilities, they really don't know more about gender-based violence, just as the speakers have been saying. Then the mindset and myth. People really think that if you sleep around with a girl living with a disability. I've seen men come to me that, Atim, I love you. And they have something behind. They just want to sleep with me because they know that if they sleep with me, they are going to acquire wealth, which is wrong. It's not right. Yeah. That is it. Some think that if they sleep with me, they'll heal of HIV/AIDS. Let's have it on the back of our minds that even persons with disabilities are living with HIV/AIDS. We are not aware about this. About the information, the distribution, some of us are really being left out because we lack this basic information about JBV.
Indeed.
I might be...
And what your rights are.
Yes, what our rights are. We don't know what our rights are. Some of us think that, some men think that we should have sex by chance. They don't know that we are really entitled to have it. We have the rights to get married. We have the rights to be loved, not to acquire sex by chance.
We've also had that when a PWD goes to a health center to tell them maybe I need some sexual health, sexual reproductive and health, kind of information. They'll be like, you also indulge in sex?
Yes, I didn't tell you
this. As if she's not a human.
I'm also a sexual reproductive health and rights activist. So you go to a health center and you ask for the services and someone tells you, query, you've also come in for condoms. Wow. So people think that we don't really have the rights. We are not entitled to that.
Like you as a Team Joy Mary, what do you want to see done right now, moving forward to ensure that we do away with this problem?
Yeah, one, sensitization. There is really need to sensitize the community about disability and gender-based violence. To all the service providers like the police, the technical staffs, please, we should really be mindful when it comes to disability.
Wow, that is a powerful submission from our team. Joy Mary, representative of persons with disabilities who are the most affected. Edwina Nasuna is going to do us the honor of wrapping up this edition of the People's Parliament in Iganga District.
There's a famous scholar known as Paulo Freire, and what he advocates for is, bottom-up kind of programming. What I've picked today is, while we are designing, and back to the fellow CSOs and NGOs working out there, while we are designing these programs, let us consult the people in these communities. They have the information, they know how best to tackle these issues that they face. And then the lack of information about GBV. We're going to try, I think we've been doing it in our safe spaces, but we shall try and emphasize and at least use the different media, customized to the different communities. What works in a community in Luwero may not necessarily work in Iganga, and we respect that and honor it. I thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's rise and give a thunderous applause to BRAC Uganda for the job well done. I mean, we are talking about 112 clubs or shelters that have been set up by BRAC Uganda only within this region. And indeed, let's continue doing more as BRAC Uganda. To the central government, yes, we need to ensure that more funding is available to the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development. The community development officers need more money to be able to do their work. The health centres within those local communities need money to be able to treat many of the cases of gender-based violence as a result. I remain your humble host and Speaker for the People's Parliament, Romeo Busiku. Till we meet again, have yourselves a blessed night.